Hello, everybody, and welcome to Enchanted Chatter. I'm super excited because this week I have Jordan with me. Hello, and welcome to the show, Jordan.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I am so thrilled. Before we went live, we were gabbing, and I said, we have passed, like, our paths have crossed many a times in many a discords, but we've never had the time to kind of sit down and chat. So I'm very excited to get to do that now.
Yeah, when you sent me the link to join on Discord, I had kind of forgotten that we were friends on Discord.
Same. And I was like, oh, I feel very stupid because we've talked quite a bit on in like different Discord channels, but like not directly with each other.
Yeah, I think a lot of the Discords we've been in have been more for vibes also, which I love.
Yes, same. Which is funny because we both are competitive players, so it's
Yeah,
funny that I feel like we both have a good mix of while we love competitive play, we also like just the vibes of Lorcana and how much fun we can have not just only playing the card game.
yeah, I agree.
Which is going to bring me to my first topic because we were just talking about this in a Discord, or actually it was in an Instagram channel or something, who knows. But why is Japan getting all the cool things?
I really don't understand. I actually just got back from my first ever trip to Japan this year. My husband and I went on like a way overdue honeymoon for 2 weeks. And when we booked the trip, it coincided with the release of set 12, Wilds Unknown. And so I was like planning, like, all right, we're going to be there and we're going to go find the sleeves and all these exclusive things. And we got there and we had booked 2 days at Disneyland on the first day, Disney Sea on the second day. And by the time we got to go to any of the Disney stores to look, they were already sold out. And I like thought I was like, I didn't even think these were going to sell out because like Mr. Burns was there before me and he was
Yeah.
having no trouble finding them. And my other friend from SoCal, Kelsey, went to the Disney store by Disneyland on like Tuesday and she said she found enough for her LGS. And and by the time I think I went to like 6 Disney stores and they were sold out. I
Oh
saw
my
packs
gosh.
at one store. And I was like, I thought that like going to Japan, the hype wasn't as built up there yet, but I think that people learned. They saw the exclusive sleeves and they were like, I'm going to Japan.
I think they learned, and I think there is like a decent amount of a community out in Japan as well, which is great because it's great to see some of like the international community and like the strength that has because I think it will help with the game in the long term, but it is kind of disappointing to see how much support Japan is getting over the US purely from like a league standpoint. Like I was just talking about this with friends with this being the first set we don't have pins in league promos. It feels very sad that they're just being replaced by like a sheet of stickers.
Yeah. I I was able to snag some of the new exclusive lore counters for Mr. Burns as well because I when I was in Japan, I didn't get to go to any of the LGSs.
Mhm.
And I think that's how you were able to get the lore counters, the like plastic ones that you can fold and make yourself.
Yeah,
I got the Minnie and Mickey ones to go with. I have both of the iconics I pulled. Um,
I'm jealous.
and yeah,
That was a sigh of jealousy of I haven't pulled an iconic, but I'm hoping that this is my set.
I hope this is the set. These are. I think the Belle and the Beast one is my favorite, but
That one's my favorite as well.
it's a good one. But yeah, I do feel like they are really supporting the LGSs out there and trying to get people involved in local play. And I don't know if it's a difference between like who's running like that international sector at Ravensburger or what it is, but it's sad because my local scene, we meet on Wednesdays and it's hard to get like 10 people to show up to the shop now.
Yeah,
People used to
we've been
go and farm
struggling.
pins.
I agree. Like we used to have I mean we still do have a good scene, but I feel like a great example are these like last 2 weeks. So this week and last week we're obviously in between set champs are done, the start of the new like set hasn't begun, so there isn't a ton of incentive to be at league. Whereas before, a lot of our prizing didn't wasn't given out until the end of league, and it was based on your like standing and or attendance, depending on which league it was. And now with those pins, not necessarily uh, like being there, the want to be at league has, I think, dwindled a bit. A couple of our leagues have done a good job of incentivizing people to be there with the increase of popularity of Lorcana. So the prices kind of spiking. Um, a lot of our stores have incentivized league players that, you know, if you play in league, you get boxes at MSRP, because obviously what they're selling for online is a little outrageous. Then we would quickly go broke.
Yeah. Our LGS is also like that. We're really fortunate where he kind of has us locked in on a good price, and our league members get priority when it comes to pre-orders. So we have that part going for us, but it's still really difficult to like bring in new players.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we ended up splitting our league into casual and competitive because
Okay.
there were just so many people that wanted to play meta decks, and then other people wanted to play like the I remember specifically when the sugar sugar rush speedway deck
Speedway,
came
yes.
out, like it was kind of meta and there was definitely a chance for it to pop off, but if you have any kind of removal, that
You
deck
just
gets shut down so fast.
yes.
And it's like it's not fun for the person who's playing the sugar rush speedway deck to be stomped by a meta deck. So we ended up splitting our league into casual and competitive, and that has kind of helped, but it's really hard. I am really good friends with our TO, and Britt and I like try to brainstorm all the time on like how we can get people to want to come and join. Like we've tried charging for entry so we can support prize packs, mid-season prizing, raffles, and it's
You'll have to let me know if you
it's
find
hard.
anything that works. Let me know. We do. I'm a TO at one of my local stores, and we do $10 for league, and it's pack on entry and then pack per win. Um, and we've been the league kind of died at one point, and then a new owner bought the store, and I was like, hey, I would really like this to league to be back again because the store is 5 minutes from my house. So selfishly I want this to work again.
Yeah.
So I offered to help, and they've done a lot of good things to the store, so that's helped, and a lot of people have gotten to come in and see. And just like the fact that the play area is a lot nicer now, and something as simple as the bathrooms were remodeled and clean now. We joke with both the owner and some of our friends that, oh my god, you actually have soap now.
Oh
Because
no.
before we like literally were afraid to go in the bathrooms at the store. So it's definitely come a long way. But yeah, it's definitely an adventure getting players into league. I'm really curious. I know like Lorcana is my first TCG. Is um Lorcana your first TCG, or did you play another TCG before it?
No, Lorcana is my first TCG. I actually got into it because my husband plays Magic, and he used to play on Arena, which is their online mobile
Yes.
platform. Or I don't know if it's really meant for mobile. He would play on his phone, and so he always had his phone sideways playing Magic. And my friends that I'm in like a knitting group, and they got into Lorcana, and at the time I was like, I guess kind of maybe a little judgmental towards like quote unquote Disney adults. And um so they got into Lorcana and I was like, I don't think that's for me. And then I was like, okay, maybe I'll like be open to a new hobby. And I called my husband one day driving home from hanging out with my knitting group and was like, if I bought these starter decks, would you try this game with me? And so we started playing at the end of Floodborne. Um, and he doesn't really play as much anymore. He's like starting to get back into it because he likes the characters that are coming into the IP that are coming into the game now.
Hmm.
But that's what got me started. And I we used to play multiplayer when we started playing the game. So we would get a group of like 4 to 8 people together and just play, and it was super fun. I remember we did a draft, and then our league officially started, I think, with the release of Ursula's Return.
Okay.
And that's when I like got into playing the game like one on one. And I've been like addicted ever since.
I love that. I love hearing that it was kind of like a slow burn of like, I don't think I'm gonna like this. All right, I guess I'll try this. And then, oh wait, I really like this.
Yeah.
I definitely sit in the group of I'm definitely a Disney adult, and I as soon as I saw a card game with Disney characters, I was like, I need this. But when it first started, I was kind of busy, so I got into it a little later. But similarly, as soon as I started playing kind of competitively and in like the standard 1v1 format, I was just like, yeah, I'm hooked on this.
Yeah. I I think for me, I am like the kind of person where like I remember when the DLC tickets started to go on sale, I tried to get tickets to Seattle just because it was like, oh, it's hard to do. Like you have to get in the queue and get really lucky. And like something in my brain was like, okay, like let's just see if I can do this. And I like was on my laptop and like checked out and I got an attendee ticket because at the time I was not a competitive player. And I was like, oh, I got a ticket. Like that was easier than I thought it would be. And then I was like thinking like, should we go? Like I love this game. It's super fun. And I was in the Love to Lore server at the time,
Yeah.
and like was friends with a lot of the women and people in there, and just messaged and was like, hey, like I just got a ticket. I need a place to stay, and connected with Sarah, Lorcana librarian, and Maelstrom at the time. They were Labyrinth, I think.
I think, yeah.
Um, yeah. And so their manager at the time was trying to do like an Airbnb for teams and for attendees and just like non-team players. And he messaged me like a week before Seattle and was like, there are no women in the guest B&B, so I'm going to put you with the team because color is law and Sarah were in that B&B. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Um, and so I got to Seattle and got to hang out with them. And I was like so nervous and like intimidated. I was like, I'm such a bad player. Like these guys are playtesting on like Thursday night or something. And they were like, playtest with me. And I was like, oh, I don't know. That seems like a waste of your time if you playtest with me. Like I'm not great. But like they were just so like warm and welcoming. And they were like, no, like let's play. And they convinced me to get a competitor badge because I got off the wait list for one. And that just kind of like skyrocketed my obsession with competitive Lorcana.
I love that, and I love hearing that because I've had very similar stories with um like players that I've played against and even just like gotten to know in the sense of like, this is my first TCG. I'm not that good. You don't want to play test me. This is going to be a waste of your time. And then they're like, no, like you can be just as good. And I feel like that is such a great mindset. to have other players that are significantly better and have been around the trading card game circuit a time and time again, and to have them just like so instantly be like, no, you absolutely can do that. And I really like love that confidence that it's kind of instilled in me and other players. So to hear like you've had similar experiences makes me feel really good about the community as a whole.
I agree. Yeah. I think the community is kind of what keeps me so involved. Um, because like even with our local scene struggling, I still have like an online community. Like that's how I connected with you and how I connected with like I recently joined Additional Ink. I met them through ICL, which I got into because I'm friends with Luke from Maelstrom from
Mhm.
Seattle. And so it's just like this like just networking and connections that I have with like the extensive like Lorcana community that have like made me really come out of my shell and feel like I want to be more involved, and I want other people to feel how I felt when I first started and joined the game. I was like, okay, I can do this, because like that is something I used to struggle with. Like I had a lot of social anxiety. I remember like the first time we had League
Girl
at our
preach.
LGS, we
I walked
opened
into the
up.
store terrified.
I played, so we opened up, we played one round and we were doing a starter deck event. And then round two, I got paired into this girl who used to play with us, and she beat me. And I like didn't, I was so stressed out about like, I'm such a bad player and like this is a new person. And I like dropped from the event after round two because for round three, I got paired against my husband. And I was like, if he beats me, it's over. Like, I don't know if I'm going to come back to League again. It's like so intimidating. And now I feel like I'm the kind of person who will go to a DLC and I like am talking to someone that I know and I meet somebody new and I'm like, okay, you're my friend now.
I'm very similar. I always for League, um I remember losing constantly at the start. So I always try to have two decks with me. So I have like my meta, like what I'm actually like trying to play, and then I'll have like something that's like a little more fun. It's definitely not like quite like a theme deck, but it's off meta enough that if I'm playing somebody who's a newer player, they'll have fun. So they may not win, but they're still gonna have a lot more fun than me just like playing a meta deck and just like causing chaos against their poor starter deck or the like random cards that they have. And I always try to be very like intentional about teaching them like, oh hey, like this is actually how that works and vice versa, to make sure that they feel welcomed and like they can grow into the game. We recently had a family join our league, and it's their daughter is basically, they got her to start playing because she struggles um with dyslexia. And so she's like, the mom came up to me, she's like, I'm so sorry, like do you mind like just having some patience with her? She like, we try to make her read every card so that it just helps her like with her reading. And I was like, oh my god, no, that's the greatest thing to do. Like that's such a good way to use a card game, because one, it helps her like socially, and two, it's going to help her with reading. So it was just so sweet to see that and see everybody that was paired into her have a good experience. And she didn't win that night, but she definitely had like
Yeah,
left with a smile and was very like excited to have gotten to play at League.
that's so sweet. I love that.
Um, so I'm super excited to hear that you joined Additional Ink, because I've had the pleasure of meeting a few members of the team. Do you want to kind of talk about your journey of joining a team and kind of what that has allowed you to do as a player?
Yeah. I when I started Lorcana, there was a team in town, and I didn't really understand like the idea behind a team at the time. And like then went to Seattle and met Maelstrom, and like saw what they were doing together and how they were supporting one another. And I was invited to join a local team called Ink Pass last October. And so I was with them for a bit, and um, we would like play test together and get together online and hang out on Discords and like practice all the time. And we were hanging out like every day. And it's like being around someone who is that passionate about the game and the competitive cycle, especially like when like my husband doesn't play the game anymore, and so he is supportive of me going to the DLCs and traveling and competing and doing events, but he doesn't really get it. So like
That's
having
it's
a
very funny to hear
team.
that because I am in a very similar position. My husband is like a very casual Magic player, and he will play Lorcana occasional
Yeah,
with me, but like definitely is like does not understand like the competitive side from a like you just want to do that. You just don't want to build a fun deck and do the thing. What do you mean you just want to win?
no, I've always had a competitive streak. And
And
so like for me, when I learned that there was a way to go and like try and win and strategize, I was like, I need to learn how to do that. And so like I joined Ink Pass and was on that team for a bit, and um like through ICL I got to meet Jeff, who's the captain of Additional Ink, and a lot of the other players, and they approached me and asked me to join their team to support ICL. We did ICL as Ink Pass, but it was really hard as people on the West Coast when it starts at 4 p.m. Pacific time for us. Um, so like I still like wanted to do that, and so Jeff offered for me to join the team, and I joined I think maybe 2 weeks ago, and they've just like welcomed me with open arms, and I think expanding to a larger team has really helped. Like just like the resources available on like a local team in terms of like this is my deck style, like my choice or preferred play style is like more mid-rangey, and a lot of like the more active deck builders on Ink Pass are control players.
mhm.
Um, and I found myself like trying to adapt and become a control player, and it just like never really quite clicked for me. Um, so like being on a larger team with Additional Ink and like having like that kind of support to be around people who can build decks and have different play styles has really helped a lot.
Yeah, I
Um,
find that being on a team that there's a lot of different like play styles
it's
and players that play different styles can be really helpful.
yeah,
I sit in the mid-range area, but have a few players on my team that are more control, more aggro, more I don't know how you just built that deck and how it's so good, but it's good. I don't know what just happened here, but I'm gonna need you to show me how you play this deck, and everything in between. And I think that's really helpful, um, being on a large team. So my team is based out of where I am located in DFW, and we also have a branch in the Pacific Northwest. So it's also really cool to have like everywhere has a little bit of a different meta, and I think having people in like different locations is also really great because it helps when you go to larger events. Like yes, we see the meta develop, but you can kind of see some interesting trends and help with your deck building, or maybe a way to play something slightly different into a larger event, based on what you know from like your teammates and some play testing that you're able to do, that I think when you just play locally or on like a small local team it's a little harder to do that, because you just know you only have so much resources.
yeah, yeah. I joined right after DLC Indy, and they included me on like their stats or reports on how the team did in Indy, and I thought that was super sweet. Um, but I'm just really excited to be a part of a team, and they've just like really, really welcomed me, and I can't express like how grateful I am to be a part of a team. It just like for me keeps the it invigorates my like love for Lorcana even more.
Hmm.
So I think without that, I probably would not have been as much of a go-getter when it comes to competitive Lorcana.
I think that's fair because like I have a similar feeling with my team. I think a lot of the times like even with this just channel, they very much encouraged me to do this with competitive play when there are like times where I'm like I really want like this is my goal for this event. They're like, "Okay, what are we doing? How are we getting you there?" And like what do you need from us to help you get to that next level? So it is really, I think someone in the chat said like the community really is what makes this game. And I couldn't agree more because like it's wild that a card game has brought me some of the most amazing friends in just like the short period of time.
I mean, it is short, but at the same time, it's been 2 years now.
Yeah,
And so, like, looking back and thinking, like, 2 years ago, I was like not even involved in this, and now I can't picture my life without it.
same. Do you have any we've got quite a few events coming up. Are you going to last chance qualifiers or D23?
Yeah, I'll be at last chance qualifiers. Um, I since I am like my contract at work is ending, I thought it was a little irresponsible to sign up for D23. So,
That's very fair. I respect the responsibility there.
but yeah, I'll
um
be at LCQs. I've dabbled a little bit in the new meta, and I have no clue what I'll be playing.
cool. I'm glad I'm not alone. So I'll be playing at D23 and LCQs. And then I also was just like so I play obviously on the Incredibles, but for this season we've kind of struggled with ICL just because of the way like West Coast and Central Time and then just like work schedules. All of us work full-time jobs, so it's just really hard to get the team as a whole to get enough players to commit to ICL and um we also are a mix of both competitive and casual players and the idea of that playing in ICL for like some of our more casual players are like absolutely not, I will not. And I was like you would love it, everybody's so nice, I don't know, but I also understand that. So this season for ICL I'm actually playing with the Loungers, and I'm on the Lazy Boys, so
Yeah,
I'm excited to get back in the swing of that because I think that that's like a really fun setting um, to play some Lorcana.
yeah. It's funny because I love playing Blue Steel, and that's kind of how Jeff and I became acquainted over our love for Blue Steel. And there's like a joke that additional ink is like all the Blue Steel players. And we have a surprise addition to our roster this season for ICL. So I'm not sure if we've announced it yet, but I guess you'll find out.
Oh
I think
man.
it kind of perpetuates that Blue Steel um, vibe.
Okay, I'm intrigued. I'm a little nervous. That's awesome. I love that. So for last chance qualifiers, are you excited? Have you been did you go to it last year?
I went as an attendee last year.
Okay.
So it'll be my first time doing an LCQ, but I have done CCQs, which is, kind of similar. Like if you lose, I mean, it's not as high stakes, I think, like, because I went to Arizona to Top Cut game CCQ, and I
Yeah.
think I had one loss, like, kind of early on. And obviously, at that point at LCQs, if you lose, you're out. But like CCQs are also like you have a very narrow margin for error. So I think like that kind of tournament prep helps, but knowing that it's like your last chance, there is a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
I
I
and
agree. I did
I'm
not do well last year. I was out round one and I was done. But it does help that it's at Disneyland.
yeah,
But my goal is to at least do better than I did last year. So the bar is not quite super high, but it's the goal is still the entry point is to do better than last year. The shoot for the moon goal is to get there and qualify, but I'm very excited. I'm also just excited for rotation. Um
yeah.
as weird as that sounds, because I feel like 4 sets ago when we were talking rotations, everybody was panicked and not looking forward to it and nervous about what it would look like. And I feel like this time we now have a better feel of what that will be and what it will look like. And I think um a lot less panic and doom and gloom.
I think it helps that there's not as many reprints as well.
I would agree. That was I think that was a big played a big part of it as well. I'm definitely excited for some of the cards. Do you have a card you're like itching to pull this weekend at pre-release events?
I mean, Rapunzel is my favorite princess. She's like tied with Aurora, so I would love to pull the Rapunzel and Flynn Enchanted. But in terms of limited, like my skills are still developing. So like I don't know which cards I'm looking for when it comes to like pulling something to like win pre-release. Like I would love to do that.
That's super fair. I forget and oh man, we've got an R&B in the chat. I just saw. uh could that possibly be someone that might show up on the team of Blue Steel lovers?
I guess we'll see.
um it's I limited has been something that like I have grown over time to really love. I still don't like draft mainly because I'm a goblin and want to keep my cards. I don't want to pass these cards. These are mine. So I lean more towards sealed, purely from a perspective of I'm just a goblin. There is no like strong reason like I should be able to draft as well as I play sealed. But sealed is something that like I've grown to love more and more each set. And I think that makes sense because with each set, the creators have focused a little bit better on what um like the sealed play experience looks like and increased how great it is. But it's something that I've definitely enjoyed and I think has helped me. I always say it's like how I do a deep dive into the new set, because I think it's a way for me to like really learn the different cards and be more comfortable playing into what um, people may like add a spice card to their deck. And I feel a lot more knowledgeable after playing sealed because of that.
Yeah, last set I think I did like 3 or 4 pre-release events. This set I think I'm gonna go to probably 3. So I'm excited. I love opening packs, obviously. And I got to see one person open an iconic from their pre-release kit last set. And
My soul left my body. There's a person at one of our leagues that she's they've got a very very big personality. They're very friendly, very nice, but they like they definitely have a big personality and they were opening a trove before we started our pre-release event and they pulled a card and they go, oh, I pulled an Enchanted, and I looked at it and it was the iconic Merida, and Merida's like my absolute favorite princess, and I
oh
sat there for
yeah.
like a second. I was like, no, that's the iconic. Soul left my body. It's okay. You're happy. You're so happy someone pulled this. This is good. And like
Yeah.
sitting giving myself a pep talk of like, no, we're happy
It's
for
okay.
people. um so I really hope I can pull an enchanted this set. It would, or an iconic, it would make me keeping my cool on some other polls that people have done. I was like, I feel like karma finally coming back to greet me and be like, okay, you've been
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think I'm like almost always happy for people when they pull like Enchanted and Iconics. I've had my luck, and so
Oh, 100%.
yeah,
This was one of the rare few times where I was just like,
yeah.
oh yay. I
I
turned
I
around
mean,
like,
I get it. I get it. Somebody pulled the Rapunzel Enchanted from like a couple of sets ago in front of me, and like kept like teasing about selling or trading it to me, and then sold it to someone else, and I was like, oh, my heart aches.
well, and that was the funny, like that was, I think, the part that hurt the most. Was I was like, how much do you want? Because like this is the only card I want this set. Like I will stop buying packs. Like it's fine. How much do you want? And they there's another person at our league that like flips a lot, and he just like basically he's like, here's a case and $200, and that was all she wanted. And I was like, I would have given you more than that, but okay.
No.
I say that as my husband's listening to this and he's like, excuse you.
Yeah. Uh, it's such a vice being
It
a collector.
is. So you are also a collector. Yeah,
Yeah.
so you feel the pain. I am, right before the show, I was actually working on packing because I will be going to Disney World this weekend to grab up the lovely collector's set that is being released. And I'm very excited for it. I'm terrified for what Disney World and Disneyland are going to look like on Friday. Um, Disney Springs and downtown Disney, I feel like might be a war zone. But I am mentally prepared for lack of sleep and a midday nap.
Yeah. I'm also going to Disneyland this week for the first time ever for pre-release. But I'm going with Lorcana Fran, and I'm
Oh,
sure like
she's a
Mother will guide
pro.
me. She's
Yes.
a pro. I'll be safe. I'll get the mat and the collection and the promo, and it will be fine. Even if I'll be exhausted, like I trust her with my life.
I was like, your statement of mother will guide me feels very accurate there. I would trust
Yeah,
her with my life.
yeah, absolutely. I met Fran at Anaheim LCQs. There was
Okay.
a Love to Lure trade event
I love
at like the
that.
picnic tables outside
Mhm.
of Disneyland. And so I met her there. And then my friend and I TO'd a couple of tournaments in Sacramento, and she came to those. And I remember like I think the second time that I saw her in person, she was like, come to LA and visit me. And I like couldn't tell at the time. I was like, is she serious? Like, I don't know if like, I don't know if we're like friends like that, but I would go visit her. Like, she seems super cool and friendly, and I love her. And like, this year I went to SoCal to house sit for a friend and was there for 4 weeks. And I spent like almost every like week with her. I went to locals and got to hang out with her. And so now I'm obsessed. I love her.
I love that, and that's awesome to hear because I once again, another person that I've like interacted casually with on the internet, and I'm like, I need to meet you in real life because you sound wonderful. Everyone talks so highly of her, and every interaction I've had with her has been delightful.
Yeah, she's truly the best ever.
So formal invite. Fran, if you're watching, you should definitely come on the show. I'd love to chat with you.
Yeah,
I
she
joke that this
definitely
is just
should.
just basically me talking with everybody that I want to be friends with in the community.
It's funny because like that's what I've started doing to people in real life. Um, like I just like you're my friend now. Sorry, like
Yeah.
you're stuck with me.
Hmm. I adopt introverts pretty regularly. Even though I wouldn't definitely compared to some of my friends, I'm more extroverted, but like I have a lot of social anxiety. But I'm like, we have a lot of interests that are like match. We should be friends. Like this is great.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I have become like more extroverted, especially through this game. Like just knowing that we have a hobby in common just kind of like breaks the ice. So
Being an
being
adult
a
and making friends is hard, and
yeah,
this has made it significantly easier.
I mean like even with my knitting group that like I've been going to for like several years now, like I started playing this game because a couple of those women started playing the game too. And like I didn't really know Rigel at the time, and now I would say she's my family. Like she invites me to, I went to Thanksgiving and Christmas with her last year with her family.
I love
And
that.
so I don't think that we would have had that level of depth to our relationship without the game.
Mhm. That's really great to hear. Because I have friendships like that now as well. I'm super excited to be headed down. This weekend is another girls trip. I keep having girls trips to Disney World, which is just so terrible. It's a terrible place to go. Wouldn't recommend it at all. Just kidding. It's a blast. And also they have all gotten me addicted. Have you ever played Dreamlight Valley? That's my current in between sets. Apparently, what I've decided to take up my time with, besides playing cards, is Dreamlight Valley. Don't get it. It's addicting.
I my sister-in-law plays, and I literally just bought a Switch 2 when I saw the Kingdom Hearts and the Zelda releases coming out. So
Hmm.
it 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 could happen. I could
It
see it happening.
I mean, if it happens, let me know. You can join our little village of people that help, and we'll get you leveled up quickly.
Yeah.
So it's been very fun though. I've made just wonderful friends that I don't know how weren't my friends like 5 years ago. It's so to your point of like, yeah, it's been 2 years, but it's like wild to see like the comparison of 2 years ago versus now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think because like Jeff and a lot of the additional Ink team are going to Disney World this weekend too for the release. And like eventually I will go with you guys too for a release because I have not been to Disney World. I've only been to Disneyland and now Disney Japan. Like Disney World has to be on the agenda sometime soon.
I I hope so. I feel like you've got to add it in. And then I also hope I feel like this hasn't been talked about much, and I feel like it's because everybody's a little afraid to talk about it, but like what's Worlds this year?
True. Yeah.
Do
Because it
do
was
we get
over a year ago. We're due for information.
we're due for some information, and we're also I feel like due for an open event. My hopes are not super high, just because of the fact that they like haven't really said much about it. But it would be really nice to have an open event and like a celebration like the first Worlds was talked about being and then never happened. And I think that like particularly with all these CCQs that we've had this year, I think that that would be like a really good cap on the end of the season. And I'm interested to see what happens next season. I know that
I would
they've
love to know next season.
well they have confirmed that they're announcing next season at D23.
Oh, good. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
so the last Lorecast, um, either last week or the week before, they talked about it a little and that there would be more details at D23.
Okay. That's
So,
exciting.
yeah, I'm very excited. I will say this will be my first D23. I'm a little sad. I'm excited to play in the CCQ, but I'm also like, as a fan of like Disney properties, a little sad because like one of the panels that I can't go to because of the CCQ is a Scrubs panel, which is like one of my all-time favorite shows.
I love
And
that
I'm
show.
I'm so sad that I was like, no, this can't be during the CCQ. Who did this?
Yeah.
This was a personal
I
attack
just
on me.
I just found out like a friend of a friend is working on the reboot. So
That's super fun.
I know. I was like, the world is so small. Like all these people that I meet through Lorcana, like just know so many cool things and cool people. But yeah, I love that show too.
It's a great one. If you have you watched the reboot,
No.
it's worth it. So I'm very hesitant of remakes because sometimes they're really bad. Point in case, like I'm a big Gilmore Girls fan.
Yep.
That wasn't
Yeah.
great. That was not where I wanted it to be. Um,
No.
so
That's
it was
fair.
actually really good.
Yeah, okay. I'll give it a chance. I was scared. Reboots are scary for me too.
It was definitely one that like lived up to the hype. It there are some things that I like didn't expect um and like wouldn't have wanted to necessarily like be the way the show went, but it ended up being like the writers did a good job with it.
Yeah.
Trying to say things without saying things.
Yeah. That was something that like I kind of wondered too, like when they announced the CCQ at D23, like just knowing how involved it is to be in one of those tournaments, it's like that's such a huge commitment. You're like basically dedicating a day and maybe a second day of your D23 experience to be a part of this.
Yeah, I
So,
so it was an interesting thing to decide to like commit to for me for that exact reason. D23 is like a Disney event that I've always wanted to attend. Um I've been to a lot of cons, but D23 was never one that I was able to make it to. Um, so it was something that like I had to think about like, am I okay with like trading the experience of D23 for the CCQ? And I think like ultimately I love Lorcana, so it was kind of a no-brainer for me to be like, yeah, that's fine. Like this is really cool. This is the first CCQ at like a Disney run event. So I think it would be very neat to attend it and get to go to it. And like worst case scenario, as I similarly joke with like the LCQ, I'm like, oh no, if I lose, there are lots of things to distract me.
yeah.
So it feels a little bit better. But I think like that is something that is interesting with like the CCQ premise in general. So not just like when we look at the D23 event, but also when we look at like Gen Con or even just like a CCQ at a local game store. The fact that right now it is basically a win or nothing is a really interesting like concept, and I think why for some of them we've seen like attendance kind of struggle. There have definitely been a few that I think have really succeeded, and I hope the community as a whole takes like notes from those events. But it was exciting to hear some of those improvements that they're making next year for CCQs of like giving participation promos, having a full separate set of promos based on where you place in the event as a whole. I think is going to be a really positive change because I think having only one spot qualify you for Nats is is great, and like I understand you can't have like 10 spots at a CCQ, particularly if like you have 100 players versus like an event that maybe has like 500 players. I definitely think it'll be interesting to see like as we continue the like CCQ experiences if we see them modify like if you have this many players you end up with like X spots for national instead of only like a one spot.
I think that's something that could happen in future seasons. I feel like at this point they probably have things outlined already again, like
Absolutely.
for like one spot per event. But yeah, I think it's also like a good opportunity for other TOs to kind of step into the space versus what we have kind of established in the industry already. Like I will say, like I think season one had its letdowns, and now season two has also had like a lot of room for improvement. So I
I've
think
talked
if,
about it a lot, so I agree.
yeah, and like my friend, one of my friends, like we went to Milwaukee together, and she has had so many knee surgeries that like she can't stand in line for a really long time. And we got up to the front after waiting in line for maybe an hour. And she saw a staff person finally and walked up and was like, "What are your ADA accommodations?" And they were like, "Oh, just go up to the front." And then she just had to ask, like, okay, like what are your other ADA accommodations for like side events and all of these other things? And they were like, I don't know. Let me ask and I'll get back to you type
Yeah,
of thing. Which, like,
so
coming from
it's
somebody who has been established in like running events for so long, how do you not have that figured out?
yeah, it's really interesting that you bring that up because we talked a lot. So um my co-host Bree um had her son during like the first season, and he was a baby for most of it. So she was able to work with the TOs from like the first season of DLCs and had a really great experience of like just filled out the form before the event and had no issues, got assigned a stationary spot, and it was at like an end cap, so she had her son in a stroller right next to her and had a really great experience. And this season it feels like for ADA accommodations we took a step back. So I had a friend like similar to your story in Milwaukee where like they just like didn't know what to do. um in Indy they were really struggling, and they moved my friend like 5 times. So first, like she had a walker, so she has to be at the end to like be able to like set her walker at the end. And um they put her in the middle. So she went up and like waited in line to talk to someone. They moved her again, still in the middle. And like it took to like round 4. And every like in between every round, she was like walking up to the TO stand asking, trying to get it figured out. And it's really disappointing because that kind of ruined her experience. Like she had a great weekend and had fun, but like potentially could have had a much better experience and been much less exhausted had she not had to wait in line for 4 rounds of Lorcana, basically.
Yeah. Uh, I think that, yeah, the accessibility of the DLCs this season lacked a lot. And I think that's unacceptable when it comes to like pastimes, running events. You know, you run MagicCon. How do you not have an ADA chairperson or someone? How do you not have a go-to person or that figured out ahead of time?
Yeah, I agree. Like it really isn't. And I think to your point, like my friend for Indy, she emailed them prior to like before the event started to make sure that it was squared away and that like she didn't have to deal with it day of and then still had to deal with it day of. And I think
Yeah.
um one of the things I try to like articulate on the show a lot is that you do just have to ask the TO if you need accommodations and they will be accommodating to that. And it's really disheartening to then hear people did that and had bad experiences because it's like, oh, I don't want to be giving you bad advice. Like these TOs should be doing that. This is not on you. This is not on like me for telling you to do something that you shouldn't have done. Like, no, don't feel like that isn't the case. Like, you definitely still should be asking for those accommodations if you need them. They should be accommodating you. Like, this is a failure on their end for sure.
Yeah. I mean, even my round one opponent for Indy was a kid who, like, I got my table number. I sat down. We were waiting for the round to start. And then a judge came over and was like, "Hey, your opponent has fixed seating." And that was it. And so I like started packing up my stuff and I was like, "Well, how am I going to know where to go?" And he was like, "I'll take you." And I was like, "Well, you didn't like articulate that either. Like you didn't say like, 'Hey, pack up your stuff. I'm going to take you to your table.'" It
Yeah,
was
like,
just
am I
like,
going to magically know what you want me to do now?
yeah, it was so confusing. And I was like, there have been so many times in this competitive scene where like judges will say something and I'm like, what am I meant to imply from that? Like, tell me exactly what you mean. But yeah, I found that he guided me over to my opponent's table, and it was a family who was all like assigned seating together. And then later on in like round 6, I saw him again, and I felt bad because I was playing like the direct counter to his deck. He was playing Amber Steel, and I was on red blue shark
Oh, go
actions.
away.
And
I lied.
so
Okay, so it's 9 o'clock and we're gonna end the show now.
so I beat him at the end. I was like, "Do you want to take a look at my trade binder?" And I let him take like a promo that he needed to kind of like be like, "I'm so sorry that my deck is like a counter to yours. Like I didn't want to stomp you, but like it's just what the deck does."
No, it's funny that you say that and that was like your reaction to it because I'm very similar. In Virginia at the Richmond event, I had a very bad day and I was at the very bottom tables and I was fighting for my Mulan, which feels really bad as somebody who plays as much as I do. Like I should have had a better day, but
It
I
happens.
it happens exactly. And I was playing somebody, it was their first DLC, and they beat me fair and square, and we were talking about some of the park promos, and I was like, I actually have the Belle and Beast in my trade binder with me. He's like, oh, I would love to see them, and we were talking and I just like pulled them out, and he's like, I don't have a trade binder, and I was like, it's all right. I was like, if you're really interested in them, go ahead, like you can have them. He's like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, like you, like I'm glad that you had a good experience. Like yes, I want good trades for myself and like would have loved to trade, but I
Yeah.
also like love that I can do that for somebody in the community and they have a good experience and they can remember that while like maybe their day didn't go exactly how they wanted it to, but they at least have like that to hold on to from the event. And similarly in indie, um I was kind of bummed to see like the prize wall situation and running out of prizes very early. So like Friday we ran out of Let It Goes. Sunday, I kind of would have expected them to run out of some stuff on Sunday, but like later in the day, like I think they ran out of Elsa's in the morning on Sunday.
Oh
Um
gosh.
and in one of the side events I was playing a daughter, I was playing against the father and his daughter was sitting and they were just like trying to grind tickets to get her and Elsa, and that's all she wanted. And I felt terrible
Oh
because I was like, I am so sorry I have to tell you
no.
this, but they're out of Elsa's. I go, I have an extra in my binder. If you get enough tickets by the end of the day, like I will keep coming back because you have stationary seating. I know where you are. Like I kept going back to them and checking in with them until they had enough tickets and then just traded them tickets for
Um,
it. And the daughter was just so excited. It was like the best feeling in the world to see the smile that she had because I think she had to be like maybe 10 at the most, and to be able to like help her get the one thing she wanted from the weekend. And it if I feel like there were a lot of things that happened this season at the DLCs that like the community made it because the TOs were kind of falling short. And while that
yeah.
feels really great from like a community standpoint and to be a part of a community that is like doing that, it also still feels bad that like we're responsible for making a good experience.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is something that we are going to have to continue to do though, to kind of set the example and communicate to them. And I do appreciate that they are really receptive and hear people out.
Agreed.
So
I think they've
I
been
think that the
listening to
game
a lot.
has a lot of potential for growth. I want to see growth come a little bit faster, but I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, same. I say all those things and I'll like complain about it, but I'll be at the next event.
Yeah,
You've suckered me in.
literally.
Well, I know I joked earlier that it was 9 o'clock and I would let you go. Obviously a little early on your end. out on the West Coast, but I do want to respect your time. I want to say thank you so much for joining and hanging out with me. If you ever want to come back on the show, I'd love to have you. And I'm super excited for Last Chance qualifiers to meet you in person. But do you want to let everybody watching know where they can find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. It's Jordcana, and I'll send Courtney my Twitter later. I don't know what it is, but
I
those
love
are the
it.
two main places to find me.
Totally fair. I do have your Instagram in the show notes on YouTube. So definitely give Jordan a follow. And if you aren't already following Enchanted Chatter, please give us a follow. And we will see you all next week. And hopefully everyone opens lots of good cards this weekend. I wish Enchanteds and Iconics upon everybody. Well, it was great talking with you, and I will send us out.
Thanks.